Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, my dear brothers, sisters, viewers, friends of Ikra TV. I'm your host, Iqbal Bana, to another edition of Real Talk. Today we've been talking about foster carers and the need for more and more foster carers within our community throughout the whole of the nation. We know that there's a huge shortage of foster carers, and we have over, I think somebody gave me a figure earlier this week of 36,000 children in care at the moment nationally, within the 4 countries as well. And that's quite a large population of children who have no families to talk about and who have nobody looking after them in particular, except those who are given the duty of looking after them in care homes, etc. And every local authority in this country is desperately looking to encourage more and more people to become foster carers, to take some of these children and give them a family environment, a family atmosphere, and the love and care of a family that they deserve. And as I said at the beginning of in the middle of the last segment, as Muslims we know that the Prophet ﷺ, love, bless him and peace be upon him, said that those who look after orphans, and for children who have got no parents, in my view, would be deemed as orphans, on the day of Qiyamah, that those who look after them will be like this with me on the day of Qiyamah. So we know the importance of becoming a carer of children who have no parents. Even they may have no children for a temporary period, they are yatim in that sense, which means they have no children, no parents, and therefore they're deemed orphans. And this is an important subject we have spoken about a few times before, and because of the complexity and the desperate need for more and more foster carers, I wanted to bring this subject back on my program. And today, as I say, we've got some very eminent guests here with me. 2 of them have been on my program before, and that is Tariq Ali and Shaheen Khalid. Tariq, who works for the Bradford Council and the Children's Services, and Shaheen Khalid, who has become a foster parent about 4 or 5 years ago and is now loving the foster care work she does, and much more important, providing love and care to the children that she's looked after. And I've also been joined today for the first time by Micah, who has been a foster carer for 2 years. And in the process, we'll be talking about the age groups of the children that they've been looking after. And this is something I just want to touch with you about, Tariq, sorry. And that is, when somebody wants to become a foster carer, do they have the ability to stipulate that I want to look after children of a certain age range, or do they have to sign up to the full 0 to 18, and then you can sort of tailor make it to their preferential needs?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what perhaps we should have said earlier on when we were talking about sort of the criteria, part of the process is to do an assessment. So we will work with applicants to look at where their strengths are, what kind of childcare experience they have. Sometimes people come in, they've got tons of childcare experience, maybe they've worked in schools, or maybe they worked in nurseries, in childcare settings, and then with those kind of people, we'll talk to them, and we'll look at where their strengths are and everything, and then we'll work out what best approval age range to go for. Sometimes people come forward and say, you know what, Tariq, we only want to look after babies, because we don't want potential carers to just be sitting and twiddling their thumbs. We like to give them an age range of maybe 0 to 5, so that covers the baby age, and then the toddler age, and then preschool age as well. Sometimes we end up approving people for sort of primary school age, so 5 to 10 perhaps, and then obviously we've got the other end that Micah is looking after, and that's like teenagers, so maybe 10 to 18 or something like that. But I mean, so we do work with potential applicants to try and identify where their strengths lie, so that they feel comfortable with the type of children or with the age range that they're going to be working with. There is a legal reason why we ask potential applicants to be approved for 0 to 18. That's just due to the paperwork and the legality.
So that's the formal agreement that you make.
Yeah, that's just the formal agreement.
There's flexibility within that.
Because obviously, children don't remain 5. They will end up being 6. So you might have an approval of 0 to 5, and they might come and stay with you until, say, they might be 4, and they might end up coming and staying with you till they are 6. So to try and avoid constant paperwork and things. We try and make that legal arrangement where we're approving the 0 to 18.
Have you had a situation where somebody's been in the, allocated to a family, and they've virtually spent their whole life there, till the age of 18?
Of course, yeah. So sometimes, I mean, I've been working within fostering for a very long time. A child came in to a foster home when they were 3,
right.
And they ended up staying until they were 18.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So it can happen because the child was very settled with those foster carers. They had built an attachment. The foster carers built an attachment with the child. The child built up an attachment with the foster carers. The child started referring to the foster carers as mum and dad, and we didn't feel the need to remove that child elsewhere. So that child ended up staying there. They weren't able to return home, but and they ultimately ended up staying in that placement until they were 18. And those foster carers actually did a fantastic job. They supported that child to go on to university.
Right,
so they did an absolutely fantastic job.
Excellent. I mean, Shaheen, obviously you've been fostering for over 4 years now, and you've had quite a few children there. Do you feel that you'd like to keep some of those children with you and never let them go?
You asked me the same question last time as well, and I said I really love to do that, but my age is not let me do it, because I think I'm too old to keep them if they were 7, 8 and 9 years old, and another 10 years if they needed. I don't think so. I have another 10 years.
Oh, Allah give you long.
Allah
give you long life.
It's best way they have a new young carers come forward, and they got more stamina.
Actually, that's an interesting question. Have you come across young people? I mean, you know lots of people, I presume, in the community. Have you come across young people who are expressing just an interest?
Young people just get scared, or they go too much in their life to going on. They're not coming forward. The middle-aged people are interested.
It used to be people, like Shaheen says, that they were sort of middle-aged or who had slightly older children and were starting to move towards sort of retirement, and their own birth children had got to an age where they didn't need their parents as much. So
it's like Michael's case.
Same as me.
Very similar to what Michael's experienced. His experience with the children have grown up, grandkids have grown up. They don't come as often. So
I sit on panel, and last week we had applicants who were 28.
Right.
Wow. And so quite a young couple, very young couple, but they were very, very mature. Very mature. The female had tons of experience around childcare. She'd been working within the children's sector since she was about 13. She started as a babysitter, and then she started working in nurseries and different kind of childcare settings. And he lived with families from being a teenager that used to foster. Or that were fostering, so they had all the right kind of experience and knowledge. So they were approved. So we sometimes do get those younger people as well coming through.
All right. I mean, I've had people, when I've done this program before, where young people, particularly from the Muslim community, as I say, have phoned in and said, and there was one lady who came on my program, that they've been married 10, 12 years, they've had time for a child, tried all sorts of other things as well, but it didn't work. And then they decided to go down the fostering route because she was really keen to bring up a child like her own, and they decided to become a foster parent. And then lo and behold, Allah in His mercy and His infinite wisdom, within 2 years she became pregnant, and then she had 3 children after that, one after the other. So Allah does show His kindness
in strange ways. Allah
works in strange ways. So Mike, I mean, you still look very young and fit.
Very kind.
And hopefully you carry on. Do you? How long do you feel you're going to be carrying on for?
Well, as long as I can, because we love it.
Right.
I mean, we've got 2 teenagers now, and to be fair, I'm happy for them to stay as long as they want. Obviously, when they get to 18, they'll have to start paying a bit paying a bit of board. But you know, like I
That's
said,
if they want to stay with you.
If they might, they might can't wait to leave. You never know. But as we are, we're happy with them. You know, we're happy if they want to go on beyond 18 and stay here with us. We're more than happy
excellent.
with
Good for you. Good for you.
that. Yeah.
I mean, Shaheen, you're saying, you know, I'm not young enough to carry on doing this, but I can't see that being the case. So, you know, obviously, inshallah, you'll be doing this for maybe a few more years.
I'm going to do it maybe, but I'm not taking a long-term placement. That's all meant. I'm just keep doing it till I live. If I can have a strength and I'm healthy, I'll keep doing it. I'm not going to stop, but the long-term placement, like young children, and then they
which
need
I can
more.
understand.
That one. But I'm not stopping fostering, no, not at all.
Tariq, I mean, very quick message that, you know, 30 seconds, what would you say to people watching?
I would say Google fostering.
Right.
If you live in Bradford area, even if you live on the outskirts of Bradford, contact our service, ask to be seen, ask for a visit. Either myself or one of my colleagues will come out and visit you. We want Bradford people to look after Bradford children.
Yes, exactly.
We don't want Bradford children to go outside, out of area, and end up with carers that aren't living.
They don't have much connection
absolutely.
with the city.
And which makes it, when children go out of the area, it makes it difficult for ourselves, for foster carers, to maintain contact with family.
I'm going to have to stop you there. I'm going to have to stop you there. Sorry, Khalid. Sorry, Tariq. I don't know. I kept saying. Tariq, I'm going to stop. Thank you very much for watching. If anybody wants to contact Tariq's services, then you can ring 01274 437 343 or by text 88802. I hope you have enjoyed the program. May Allah be with you. Take care and pray for those people in Palestine and Gaza and those who are there from Bradford, that Allah returns them back home safe and sound. Inshallah, I'll see you next week. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.